Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon as per your respective time zones. On behalf of entire Mastek Managed Services team, we would like to welcome you all to the 22D HR Helpdesk and ORC advisory webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and the functionalities as a part of this quarterly release that Oracle provides. My name is Parth Mehta and I'm the operations executive at the Mastek Managed Services team. Today, I'm your host for this session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague Toril Mehta, who is part of our vast HCM team at Mastek, and she is serving as principal specialist for HCM competency. Today, she will take us through all the HR Helpdesk and ORC updates for 22D quarterly release. Today's session is planned for around 45 to 60 minutes and we'll make sure that we'll also spare some time to answer all your questions that you may have. Before we move ahead to the agenda, let's have a quick look at the important disclaimer. We would like to convey you our approach towards the Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through the vital analysis for the 22D updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into the system. Also, we will sync you on any bugs or any known issues if there are any. It's good to have an interactive session, so please do ask questions through chat or question panel. We'll answer them at the end of the session. We have a panels ready. We'll have a close eye on the questions you will raise. And if we run out of the time, we'll make sure to respond you back by connecting you at a later stage to answer your questions. This is to give you a glimpse of how we crafted the structure of this session. So on the top, you'll see a list of new features coming into 22D. Detailing on the features so you get a brief understanding on what new features are all about. Next one is what are the business benefits and the important takeaway for you as a decision maker. There are four impact analysis. There are four components where we have done in-depth analysis of the features which we are going to present to you today in the session. The first one is the impact level analysis, which demonstrate the impact on the end user. If it's low, we can avoid the regression testing. If it's high, then we can opt for the regression testing. The second one is, which we are all aware of, that there are some features which are by default auto enabled by the Oracle, and there are some which we need to opt for. The third one highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configuration which may be required, or some can be used without any changes. The last one is quick win. This term we use simply to convey what is ready to be used by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and effort to make use of this feature. Before we move to the agenda, before we move ahead, we would like to quickly, with a with the help of a quick poll, we would like to know which industry does your organization belong to. So on your screen, you can see the quick poll. Kindly vote. Now I'm closing the poll now. So thank you so much for patiently listening to me. Now I'm handing over to Toral, who will take you through the 22D quarterly release step by step. Over to you, Toral. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Parth. Good day, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. First thing first, I and Parth are not related. Mehta is pretty common last name in India. Thank you so much for taking out time and attending this session. We hope that our insights and our take on these updates will help you in understanding the new updates and help your business in some ways. So thank you so much for joining in. Just a quick reminder that my able colleague and a dear friend Niam is on the call. So if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to pop them in the chat and he should be able to take care of them. If we still have a few more, we'll try and take it up at the end of the session. Let's get into the analysis now. As Parth said, we are usually dividing our features into quick wins and the rest. There are total 38 features that are here for HR Helpdesk and ORC, out of which you can see the blue ones, which is around 36, which are quick win, and then a couple of them which we categorize as rest, out of which 30 are default, which means these things are already available in your respective instances or respective environments. You don't really need to do anything extraordinary to enable them. There are those 6 features which are quick wins and 2 which are rest, which are more like opt-ins. If you think that they are going to add value to your business, you can definitely go ahead and enable them. We would be covering all of these 38 features as we go along. The first category, as we all know it, is quick wins default with no configuration. So these are features which we think would add a value to your businesses without you having to do much things. So you would see the impact analysis on the right hand side. Usually for this, impact analysis would be similar, that we think it's a quick win, configuration is not required, you don't need to enable it. Impact level is something that I would like you to keep your eye on. Depending on what we think is more impactful, you would see a difference there. Okay, so let's get started with this one. So first one is already applied tag for job requisition. Now what will happen with this feature is that as a candidate, when I'll be going to the career site, I would be able to see which job requisitions I've already applied for, right? So what it will do is it will enhance my experience as a candidate. With very few clicks, I would now be able to see that, okay, probably I've applied for 3 jobs, and that means only a couple of more are open. Do I really, am I really interested in that job or not? I wouldn't really have to go through the same requisition, understand that I had already applied and I can't apply again. So it's like a very good experience for candidate where they are able to easily see which jobs they have applied for. Very straightforward, very useful if you ask me. The next is promote job requisitions based on number of applicant. Now this is an interesting one. I think human tendency is, there are two kind of people, right? There are people who want to be unique, and there are people who like to be part of something that everybody is doing. So this feature is going to give you both the things. So there is something called trending, which is if a lot of people are applying to a particular job requisition, then you would see something called trending against that, which means that if I belong to that category which likes going with the with everyone else, I would probably think that, oh, that looks to be an interesting job, let me apply for that. But if I belong to that category which thinks that I want to be noticed as soon as possible, then I'll probably go towards the be the first to apply, which means I probably think that my chances of getting highlighted, my application getting highlighted, is really really good. So both of these things, again, as I said, depending on what candidates think, could be useful. The feature is only applicable to external career site, which uses minimal template. Again, it's a bit more technical, but there are different kind of templates that are available. You do need to use the minimal one. Now, the next feature is redesign the candidate self-service. Again, the idea behind this is to give a better candidate experience. What will happen with this feature is that as a candidate, I'll be able to easily access all of my job application. I'll be able to see my profile data, any preferences that I might have, all the status against each job application. Uh, if it's in offer, if it's still in some stages, I'll be able to see that very easily over here. The idea is to make sure that your candidate engagement is better, is to make sure that the candidate experience is better. Again, no configuration needed, available by default. It's a quick win. The next is search for DFF filter values. DFF being a jargon, people who have worked with Oracle would know it's called descriptive flex field, which is nothing but an additional field that you might add. Now, one of the things about Oracle Recruiting Cloud is when as a candidate I used to, let's say a candidate is going to a website and is trying to search for certain things, what used to happen is there were very few features through which you could search for a job. Those features were namely around location and job family and things like that, right? And because of that, there was a very it was a very disjointed experience where you couldn't probably, let's say, do a filtration through any of other fields that a requisition might have. Let's say it could be qualification, could be anything, right? Now with this feature, what will happen is you would be able to set up what descriptive flex field do you want to be added in filter. Let's say if I want to allow candidates to check for a particular job through salary, I might be able to do it. Or if I want to do it through any other descriptive flex field, I'll be able to do that. So again, a better experience, better candidate experience, and also an ability to sort of uh, promote the jobs as well, because it makes it easy for people to search it, right? Okay, now the next feature is around streamlined conversion process for hiring existing worker as an employee. One of the biggest problems that many of our customers had, who had a lot of people going between contingent worker to employee, meaning contractual worker to employee or vice versa, was that the system was not able to really identify the information. So what used to happen before this update was that when you were moving such candidates from HR phase uh, into from offer phase into HR phase, what used to happen is their information was not getting copied. So there used to be an issue in terms of information not being correctly put in or information not being consistent. Now what happens is with this feature, when you are moving a candidate of employment type of contingent worker to employee or vice versa, all the information are getting copied, and also the termination of the previous employment is happening as well. So there is a consistency in terms of what actions are being taken, but there is also a consistency in terms of how the data is being data is being moving between those stages. The issue of copying the data from offer into work relationship is not there now. You would have the entire thing as very streamlined process. When you do an offer on, let's say, a contingent worker, all of that information would go into their employment. Their previous work relationship would be terminated, their new work relationship as an employee would be created with all the information that you are giving in offer. So it's basically streamlining this process. Okay, the next is, and this is one of my favorites, is source tracking information for candidate selection process through fast formula. Now again, what used to happen, and as a business case, what used to happen is that when you are using particular candidate, their source tracking was difficult. So if an agency is, let's say, referring a particular candidate for a job requisition, you could see that their source was agency. But if you are matching that candidate to any other requisition, the source would become something else. It wouldn't be agency any longer, because you're essentially manually putting that candidate against a job requisition. Now with this feature, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to create certain fast formulas. So I'll be able to dynamically write a fast formula which is going to understand different conditions, and if an agency has referred the candidate originally, I will be able to see that in the entire process unless that candidate is there in the system. So it wouldn't happen that every time I'm changing that candidate's requisitions, then their source is changing. I will be able to have a consistent source. I'll be able to have better data. And agents is just an example. That's similar to that is probably referrals, right? If an employee has referred a candidate to a particular requisition, but then the job is changing or the requisition is changing, you still want to maintain that the referral came from this person, irrespective to which job you are hiring them for. So then this would help us achieve that. This will help us get that information. Okay. The next is candidate instruction in questions. So in the questions that are being provided to external candidates, now you would be able to add more instructions. Previously that was not possible. Again, that will just give more information and clear indication. I think that's pretty straightforward, and I think that's pretty desired feature as well, because it just gives you option to be able to sort of explain the question in a better manner, right? Again, it's a quick win, no need to do any configurations. Manage gigs with multiple openings in opportunity marketplace. So when you have multiple people who want to work on same kind of job, previously you will have to use different kind of gigs. So you had to probably create 5 gigs if you wanted to have 5 different people. Now what you'll be able to do is you would be able to have a single gig, and multiple people would be able to sort of apply, and then they'll be able to be hired through that. Uh, One of the examples would be casual workers. So when you have casual workers who are probably going to do similar kind of task, instead of creating multiple gigs for them, you would be able to handle the entire thing with single gig. Again, a pretty standard feature that should help everyone. The next is enhancement to redraft offers. So again, what one of the main business cases that used to happen was that when you do have job offers, and when they are accepted and probably you are moving them ahead in the process, if after certain dates, or after probably, let's say, you moving those particular candidates to HR, there could be a change in their start date, or there could be a change in the contract start date, so because of which you might have to redraft the offer. uh, Earlier that wasn't possible. So if you wanted to redraft an offer, you had to probably inactivate them. So you had to probably do a withdrawn by candidate or reject by employer, and then only you will be able to edit a particular offer. Now what that used to do is, in your particular application you would have a state of inactive, and that means the reporting is jeopardized. Now with this feature, what will happen is, it irrespective to which different state that you are on, so you could be on offer extended, accepted, post offer, all of these different things, you would still be able to draft the offer. So you would still be able to do any changes, could be start date, could be salary, could be anything, right? But you would be able to sort of do that entire process again without you having to shift them to an inactive status. There are a couple of benefits out of this. One is you are getting rid of entire process that you might have to do once somebody has signed the let's say offer letters. So you don't have to really do entire process again. The second is that the redraft offer can also be given, or can also be sent to different workflow. So there is something called redraft count that will be available, and depending on, let's say, if there is like 5 redrafts, then send it to HR head. But probably if it's true redraft, send it to the same person. So you'll be able to also do different kind of workflows depending on what is the redraft count. So there is going to be benefit in both these areas. Again, and a feature that I think most of you are going to use, and there would be cases that you must use this. Very interesting. Okay, now this is really related to HCM data loader. This is about loading candidate pools in the system. So previously what used to happen is you were able to load all the candidate related information. Let's say when you are you're doing cutover activities, you are making sure all of your candidates are being imported in the Oracle Recruiting Cloud. At that stage you were able to import them, but you were not able to probably provide a particular current phase and state. When I say phase and state, it could be different things, right? So it could be new phase and it could be old phase. You could have different phases that you could define, right? So review phase and interview phase, all these different phases. So you could have them, but you could not tag them against a candidate. With this new feature, you will be able to do that. So it takes you out of that manual task and you'll be able to do that through HCM data loader. Pretty similar thing for job applications. So again, the same thing, we were able to load the job applications, but we were not really able to tag them against anything. Job application as in the candidate application against a current requisition. You would now be able to, let's say, import everything that is on offer phase and state being, let's say, in progress, or state being draft. So you would be able to import all the job application as is with current phase and state. Again, very important and very useful when you do the cutover activities. Similar to that for job requisition, so adding current phase and state for job requisition. Now you might question that why would I need a job requisition with any phase or state. But think of this scenario, right? If you are migrating from one recruiting system to another and you just want to probably take up all the job requisition which are in open but are suspended, you want to retain that information, that when the job requisition was initially open, probably it's put on hold, probably it's on suspension, but you want to import that data, or you probably want to import all the closed ones as well, or filled ones as well, but you want to know that what was the turnaround time. It could be for data, could be for anything else, right? So that way you might want to use this feature, and in that case now HCM data loader should be able to help you. Now, similar to that, you would be able to add or delete candidate labels using HCM data loader. When I say candidate labels, labels could be defined by you. So the labels could go from anywhere from it could be notice period, saying that all the candidate who has less than, let's say, 90 days as notice period, label them in a certain way. Could be anything, right? But you would now be able to load the labels through HCM data loader. Yeah. Okay. The next one is updating posting location of requisition using HCM data loader. So uh, those of you who have used Recruiting Cloud a lot would remember that, when you have posted a particular job requisition, and if you want to change that location, what you have to really do is you have to unpost that, you have to edit that requisition, and then you have to change the location, which is a pretty long and a tiresome process. Now with HCM data loader, what you will be able to do is you do not need to redraft it now. All you have to do is whatever locations you want to add, you can load it through a simple uh, file. Okay, you would be able to modify any location, any posting locations, right? And there are different things in which you might need it. So you might need it because you are expanding to multiple locations, you might need it because you forgot a particular location. But the process of redrafting and going through the entire approval process again, or unposting it, all of that is out of the picture now. With a simple process of using HCM data loader, you should be able to load those new locations without any further configurations. Okay. Okay, this next couple of ones are around extracts. Extracts is pretty technical, so if you don't get them, that's all right as well. Just for everybody to understand what the feature does, right? And see if that's something that your business wants to use. So for now, Oracle Recruiting Cloud will have the ability to extract large objects from recruitment content library. What usage it could have is that depending on what kind of integrations you are doing, there could be specific integration that this can be used in. If not that, if you want to do a review exercise after a while, and if for that you want these character large objects to be extracted, that can be done as well. There are different applications, but the idea is that previously this wasn't possible. You couldn't really do an extraction for character large objects, but now you would be able to do it. Similar to that, you would also be able to extract move commits. So when you move candidate between between different states and phases, you provide some comments. So during that process, where the comments that you provide against job application, that can be extracted now. A particular new extract is made available. Again, as I said, the usage could be more around integration. The same kind of information is available in reporting, but if you are doing an integration with any other third-party systems, if this information is something that you need to you need to maintain, then you will be able to do that as well. Now we come to reporting. So next few features is around reporting enhancement that have come through. What used to happen in previous releases is what job description were coming from two different places. So if you created a report to get job description, if the job description was coming from the library, then you were able to get them through a different kind of path. And if it was local meaning that if you are putting it on the go, you were able to get it directly from one subject area. Now with this enhancement, what is happening is that the join that used to happen manually beforehand between two subject areas is happening automatically now. So irrespective to if it's a local description or it's coming from a library, you would be able to generate all of the job description from job requisition templates in one go. You wouldn't have to do any changes. You wouldn't have to do any joins. You wouldn't have to look at two different subject areas. You will be able to simply drag and drop job description against a job requisition or a job requisition template, and you would have all the report in one area. Again, the business benefit is that previously there was complex reporting involved. Now it becomes very easy with drag and drop. Yeah. Similar things for responsibility and qualification. So you were able to get the job description as in the text in the internal and the external description, but you were not able to get the responsibility and qualification in that same report. Now getting job descriptions or JDs out of system is a pretty common requirement. So that Oracle came up with these two things, where now you will not only be able to get the job description, but you will also get the responsibility and qualification. In short, you'll be able to get an entire GD in one place rather than having to go to multiple places. The next one is additional contract fields in job offer dimension. So what used to happen is there were only limited contract fields. So like things such as contract ID, contract number, and name, they were the only things that used to be available in job offer under assignment information folder, if I'm not mistaken. Assignment or employment should be either of them. So it used to be very limited information. But with this new release of 22D, what is happening is you would have a different folder altogether for contract information. So when we are generating the job offers, or when we are generating the offer letters, at that point you would have all these different fields that you see in front of you available on your on your data model. So you will now be able to retrieve any information related to contract very easily. And from what I understand, I think this is going to be enhanced as well. So just like excuse me, just like we have contract information, other informations are going to come as well, where the idea is to get as much information as possible on the job offer. So when you do draft offers, you are able to probably provide an entire picture of the employment. Again, the benefit is that it's easier, you have more information, makes everything much more connected. It's much more fluid than what was previously there. The next feature is candidate labels and reports. Again, as I said, the ability to upload and update the labels, similar to that, you would now be able to create reports using those labels as well. So there would be a subject area for candidate information. Within that subject area, now you would have a new folder called candidate labels available under the candidate dimension. So you would be able to take that label name and label identifier and report that. Again, very easy to get. Idea is again same, right? You want to get as much information as possible, and you want to report on that. So that's essentially what this will do. Now we go into HR Helpdesk. So you can see here now these features are around HR Helpdesk. The new feature is to assess and update cases using intelligent advisor interview. So when you would have new cases as part of your case management, if you do have intelligent advisor within your modules, then you would be able to enable this where there would be an expert guidance that will come from the intelligent advisor automatically, and all the critical questions about your particular case which is being raised will be answered, and the due course of action would be suggested as well. So not only does it answer the question, it also tells you the right direction to take it ahead as well. Again, the real benefit here is that system is using that intelligence to give you appropriate actions and appropriate updates. So that's essentially what will happen. The next is around assessing the action bar. So with this new shortcuts that are enabled, so Alt A for PC and Control A for Mac, using these shortcuts you would be able to go to the service request pages easily, right? So you would be able to go to the action bar in a quick instance. This is going to help all the agents take actions quickly in the case management. So again, it's more of an enhancement. We want to enhance that experience for agents where they don't have to click too many things. Everybody wants to and loves to use a keyboard and doesn't love a mouse. So this is going to help in that. Really shortcuts to help them to go to the action bar. The next is easily copying attachments using action plans. So now as an action plan administrator in a particular case, you would be able to copy all the attachments and all the things and put it to the next action plan or copy it to another action plan. Usually what happens is before this enhancement came into picture, if you, let's say, want to create an escalated ticket or if you want to create an escalated case, you just had to copy everything manually. At least the text we can all copy, right? But the attachments was a big problem. Now with this feature, you are able to copy all the attachment from one object into another object, and that is going to help doing any escalations or creating new workflows. Anything can be done. Basically it's helping you create that copy version of the same thing. Yeah. The next is notifying agents of missed customer initiated chats. So if your agent has missed any chats which are initiated by customer, you would get a system generated pop-up. It will, the notification that will keep on showing up unless it is discarded manually. If it is from a contact or somebody that is known to the agent, they'll be able to drill down to it. If it is from a service request, agent would be able to drill down to service request as well. Again, it's more of a system intelligence where system is smart enough to tell you that there is something that is being missed and you should have your attention here. It just enhances the experience from an agent point of view, but also from a customer point of view, because yeah, let's be real, nobody wants you to forget their chat. So this is just going to help you. Now these were all quick wins, default with no configurations. Now we are going to quickly jump into quick wins, default with configuration. So these are things which we consider as quick wins, and they are default. So it's not really opt-in features, but then there are some sort of configurations that are required. Some could be complex, some could be very straightforward. Okay, so the first is hot job tag, right? So the way we were talking about human tendency of be the first one to apply or trending job, similar to that, if you as a recruiting team wants to highlight something, wants something to be noticed, you probably want to give them this tag. Other two features were more system inbuilt features. Those were things which will happen depending on traction that it's getting. This is more of a configuration feature where you are able to, sort of customize this, and you are able to give this tag to particular jobs that you want to be highlighted. So that's the difference. One is really from a system point of view default feature. This is more of you as a recruiting team making that making that decision that I think that this job needs more traction, and let me just let me just highlight that on the career site. So that's essentially the difference. And again, I think this is, yeah, this is definitely helpful if you want to promote a certain set of jobs. Okay. The next is additional fields in the requisition list. So the default standard requisition list that we had didn't used to have requisition number, location, or work location. So you wouldn't really know what particular job requisition is unless you understand it by the title, or you go into the details of the job requisition, and that just used to sort of not be that good an experience. With this additional fields and requisition list, without having to go into particular requisition, you would be able to identify it well. Again, this is not available by default. So by default, this will be a hidden. If you think it's something that is useful to you, you will have to do some customizations, and you would then be able to enable this. When I say customizations, is more about going into that page and using page composer, details of which you will find on the update documents that Oracle has provided. But of course, we as Mastek can also help you. The next is advanced job application list filter. This particular feature is really available only to the early adopters. It's not something that's going to be available to everybody as part of 22D. But if you are an early adopter, what will happen is this particular feature would be available. So now when you used to, as a recruiter, if I go ahead and do a filter on job application, there were only a couple of things through which I could do the searches, right? Now with more ability, you will be able to do more targeted searches. So I could be searching through multiple things. I could say, give me everybody who has a BTech degree from Harvard. I would now be able to do such kind of searches. Previously that wasn't possible. So and you can just see that there is no limit to it, right? So you could do it on skills, employers, positions, degrees, schools, interview feedback as well. So now it will have more sort of more ability to do searches. Again, the feature is under controlled availability, so you will require to raise an SR, and then Oracle will have to assess your instance and environment, and then they'll make a decision. But I think it's an interesting feature as well. Now we are back into help desk. A couple of more features around help desk. The first one is manage action plans through an intuitive and interactive diagram. So users can now see a interactive diagram of what is happening with their cases or their service request. So when you are raising any case or any service request or any HR help desk request, you would be able to see this kind of a diagram to see that, okay, the process has started. It has probably gone to some contact, or it has gone to a particular agent, and then this is the set of actions that they are taking. So you would be able to really see a action plan diagram which gives a clear clear picture of the actions that are being taken, and also gives you a sort of idea that your case or request is being progressed, that it's not stuck anywhere. So it's a way of engaging with your end users much better. Again, there are some set of configurations that are there, and then you also have to enable them as well. Yeah. So decide which related objects to purge when you have purge contacts. So again, this is related to help desk. You can determine whether you want to purge any service request or their related objects when you are purging a contact. This again is to comply with the GDPR policies, right? As part of the general data protection regulations, there might be some information that you are required to purge. So now you would be able to do all of that directly, instead of you having to go and discard service request. If you are discarding a particular contact, all the related service request and any other objects, you should be able to purge directly without having to go into each object. So that's generally how this will work. The next is enable system access groups for service work orders. So when you have any service work orders raised, now you would be able to configure the system, and you would be able to have some predefined rules because of which the service orders would be sort of, the data security on those service order would be automatic. So instead of you having to assign or define any data policies, you would be able to set predefined rules. So this service or work orders are then divided into certain things automatically. Okay, similar to that, enable near real time updates for work order access group. So it's a pretty similar features to the one that I just described. With this, you would now be able to access work orders that are secured using a near real time access group. So the access groups will keep on
Hello.
updating. Yep. Hello. Team, am I audible? Can somebody please confirm?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please continue.
Thank you. So yes, I was just saying you can access service work orders that are secured using access groups. Again, the service work order is created or updated very easily, and users will now be able to access them without doing too many changes. Yeah. Now this was about quick wins with default configuration. Now these are the new features which are quick wins, but they are opt-ins, meaning that they are not going to be available automatically. You would have to do some configurations and you would be able to enable some of them if need be. The first and something that I think is very useful is to be able to add an alternate email for internal candidate communication. So when as an internal candidate, I apply for any job, now I as a candidate would be able to provide an alternate email. So apart from my work email, if I want to apply for, if I want to add a new alternate email, my personal email, I'll be able to do it. And through that email, you'll be able to talk to all the internal candidates. One of the things that I can think of is when you have casual workers who do not probably have an, their work email, or could be any contractual workers or contingent workers who probably cannot use official email. In that case, they'll be able to provide their home email or alternate email, and they should be able to use it. Uh, the next is enhanced duplicate check when moving candidate to HR. So after a candidate accepts a job offer, when you move them to HR phase, you can now also do a check if the candidate is duplicate. What we have tried to do, or what Oracle has tried to do, is to keep the UI very similar to what was there for checking duplicate candidates. So this is not checking duplicate candidates. That feature is there. What this does is when you move them as an employee, so when you are hiring them as an employee, at that time it will check into the database with these different features. So person type, national identifier, date of birth. It'll check through all these features and check if somebody already exists, and it will suggest you. So it will help you keep your data clean, and it will also help you make sure that you also make you not have to sort of set those information or set up those information again. So that's about duplicate check. Now the next is enhanced Office 365 integration capturing and interview response. So this is on top of the Office 365 integration that we have available. Now you also have an enhancement where the candidate would be able to select a date and time, but the interviewer would also receive a information for that, and depending on if interviewer accepts it or they decline it, candidate gets those notification directly. So it's a two-way communication between the candidate and the interviewer. You are taking the recruiting team out of it, hence you are taking the delay out of it. So if candidate puts it, interviewer gets it. If it's declined, candidate is asked to reschedule. All of that will happen automatically. Depending on where it is, you would also see a tag in the scheduler. So as a recruiter, I'll be able to say if it's red, then at least one interviewer has declined. If it's purple, no interviewer has declined, but at least one has tentatively accepted. if it's green, blue, orange. So I'm not going to go into details of it, but it's basically an enhanced experience where candidate is talking to the interviewer directly and you are getting the updates of that in terms of when that's a comfortable time. In the same lines, when when you are setting up the candidate manage interviews, now you will be able to select something called uh, candidate schedule based on interviewer's ability. So now when a candidate is setting up their when you are letting candidates select their slots, basically the slots will be available only depending on interviewer slots available. So if in a particular day only 2 slots are available, then the candidate would only see those 2 because that's when the interviewer are available. That's very tightly bound to the Office 365 in the way that, let's say, if my working days are Monday, Tuesday, I am the interviewer, and if my working days are Monday, Tuesday, then the candidate would only see those 2 days. Let's say 8 to 5 is my working time, then they'll see slot only during those 2 days. They wouldn't see anything outside. So what this does is you are again taking the entire management and entire coordination out of the picture. You are basically letting candidates see the availability and letting them choose time which works from them and the interviewer directly. Again, I think this is a very, very good feature, to be honest. The next is two-way candidate messaging. Again, something that has been highlighted by a lot of my customers. uh, until now you didn't have the ability to communicate with candidates through Oracle Recruiting Cloud. uh, you must be aware there are no reply emails that the alerts and notifications are going from the no reply emails. So it's a very difficult thing to always add a note saying that this is a no reply email. In case you want to reach out to you, reach out to us at blah 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 at recruiting.com or blah 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 at gmail.com. That's not a good experience, right? Now what will happen is you'll be able to do a two-way candidate communication through system, not only in terms of email but also SMS, depending on if you are you are already integrating with any of the third-party systems that recruiting supports. You will be able to not only send emails but also SMS through the system itself. So I can essentially be on this screen and then send out an email or send out a message, and then all of that history goes in the interaction that is there. Essentially, not only that, you can also receive queries from candidate here as well, and all of that is tracked. So again, very good feature for both candidates and the recruiters. So the next one is shared interview schedules. One of the use case for this is that when there are situations when you have job requisitions, multiple job requisitions for which you are interviewing people, but you are interviewing for the same skill set. So let's say you are doing a I don't know, you're doing a walk-in, right, where you're probably hiring, if I take an example, let's say you are hiring engineers. You're hiring for the same job, or you're hiring for different jobs, but all of them are engineer, and there is a walk-in and there is a very same shared schedule that is available for interviews. So in those kind of scenarios where your requisitions are different, where your probably needs are different, but the skill set is same and the availability of the people is going to be in the same time, so then you will be able to do a shared interview schedules. So anybody can manage this shared interview schedule, set it up once for, let's say, multiple job requisitions, and then unpublish it on particular job requisition. So you wouldn't have to sort of do this 50 times. You do it once and then you keep reusing it against different job requisitions. Yeah. The last one, which is REST. So the REST feature, in terms of, again, this is more of information rather than feature. It's more about transaction design studio, where all of the actions related to recruiting is now prefixed with something called recruiting, is for easier access. Again, as I said, it's more of an update. So there used to be a lot of confusion around which actions are for recruiting. This is something that is going to help you with that. Now into innovation. So this is that was all about the features that are coming in 22D, and I hope that that was useful. Before I wrap it up and hand it over back to to Parth, there are a couple of things that that we have done here. So I would just like to share that innovation with you. There was a particular customer of ours who was very interested to have a unique kind of validation. They wanted that there has to be eligibility for internal job applications based on grade, meaning that if I am a grade A, I can only see jobs which are grade A1, A2, or A3. I should not be able to see any jobs which are in a different level. Now that, again, it could be level 1 2 3, it could be level, it could be also that it is certain set of grades only that were allowed. So there was this unique requirement which we had, and I think it's a fair requirement. You don't want your internal candidates to see too many job application. You want them to have focused view on it. Sometimes you also want to restrict particular views depending on, and this was just a grade thing that we did, but it could be based on job family, it could be anything, right? You don't want, let's say, a marketing person to see a job related to to sales, let's say, assume. So in that case, what we did is we developed this particular solution where we had a descriptive flex field which was created, and depending on the logic that we had, in this case the logic was, if an internal candidate is on level 1, they should only see requisitions which are on level 2. So on a dynamic level, when I as a candidate go to that job requisition, if the requisition is level 2 and above, it'll have that eligibility to apply as yes. If the requisition was level 1 or below, the eligibility to apply would be no. So essentially, that dynamic field was deciding if I was able to apply for a particular job requisition or not. I think it's an interesting thing that we did, and yeah, I definitely think that it's something that can be used. With that, I think that's about it from my side. I'll hand it over back to Parth probably for the closing note. And if you do have questions, I hope that were answered.
Thank you so much, Toru. That was wonderful. You shared wonderful insights, and the session was very informative, I believe. So, guys, before we move to the question and answers, I would like to quickly launch a couple of polls. Like to get some answers from your end. Uh, so under the poll, I'm launching the poll. With the help of this poll, we would like to quickly note down your area of interest in order to organize future webinars with more value-based contents. So I'm sharing the, yeah. On your screen, you can see the poll. What is your area of interest? Is it managed services, innovation technologies, BB and data masking tool, cloud transformation? I think that's it. I'm quickly closing the poll now. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing your feedbacks. Now, quickly, the panelist, Niyamchan, can you please check if there are any questions received from any of our attendees?
So I think there are no new questions.
Or is it? And yeah, I think you might have answered as and when the question was received. So thank you so much, Niyamchan. Now the question and answer is over. So I just want to quickly share what is the next approach. Just a sec. So in couple of days you will receive an email from us where we share the presentation and the session recordings and the test scripts. You'll be able to uh, see it in a single click. And if you do have any questions related to the additional services around quarterly updates, or you need to learn about more about innovation or something, and if you have any concerns or questions regarding the sessions as well, please reach out to your respective CS support managers or the service managers. They'll be able to help you out. And on the screen you can see the next sessions which we are going to conduct. And now I have 2 more polls to go. I'm quickly sharing the under the poll. We'd like to get a feedback on today's session. Please tell us so that we can uh, have a better understanding on how to improve on our another sessions. So here is the poll I'm launching right now on your screen now. Closing the poll now. Thank you so much for the feedbacks. And with that in mind, I'm quickly sharing the last poll for today and we'll wrap it up the sessions. Just a sec, I'm quickly launching the poll. In this poll, you need to answer, have you attended any of our previously organized advisory webinar sessions or not? So it's just a yes and no. Launching the poll now. I think we have received sufficient answers, feedbacks. Thank you so much. I'm closing the poll now. So thank you so much for all the attendees who have joined today, and I hope you got informative information from the session. Please join another sessions if you like. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Take care.